Hi there guys, this is a video where I demonstrate painting a couple of mixtures in this new color chart that I'm putting together, and I encourage you to try doing this yourself. This is one of the most helpful tools to have hanging in your studio, especially when you're new to painting. And I just want to, I'm going to repeat myself some, but I want to talk about it. Instead of just doing a full square of a solid paint color, this color chart does two things. It's teaching you, first of all, how colors mix when you tint them down with white, and then the black Sharpie line is to help you identify which pigments are opaque and which pigments are transparent or semi-transparent. And it can be really wonderful. And like, for example, this is a chart that I completed a while back, and some of my mixtures you can totally, are super opaque. And then other ones, like for example, my cobalt turquoise, their level of transparency is very determinant on what I'm mixing them with. And so color charts like this are just so very helpful, and I really encourage you to try this out, because I have found them to be wonderful tools to have in the studio to help you out when you're trying new things, and you want to try a new color mixture, and then it's like, well, what am I gonna, what would mix? But if you've done these color charts, you can quickly look at them, and then even like I really think there's a level of muscle memory. It's better than like looking through a book of color charts, because then you can actually go back and think about that memory that you have of when you were copying that, when you were creating this color chart, and then it just helps you be a more flexible artist. Good luck. Thanks. Hi there guys, I am doing a color chart. I'm just starting a new color chart, and I wanted to share it with you and talk about my methodology of one of the reasons why I like doing these color charts. And it's not, I don't do just a straight color to color mixture, but I do incorporate mixing with white, so that way I can actually see how my color shifts as my mixtures go. So for example, on this color chart mixture is an exploration of yellows and greens and blues. So what I have Cad Lemon, and I'm in the process of, I'm going to be doing these 3 squares, and I'll demonstrate that to you guys. And this is Cad Lemon and Cad Green Pale, Chromium Oxide, Viridian, Cobalt Green by Williamsburg, Cobalt Green by Winsor Newton, Cobalt Turquoise Light, Cerulean, Cobalt Blue, and Ultramarine Blue. And so the goal is to create a mixture that's straight from the tube, been mixed about 50-50, and then we're essentially, I'll demonstrate for you, but we're essentially, like, after I've done that 50-50 mix, I squeeze out my brush as much, and so I've only got a little bit of pigment on my brush, and then I pick up like a big dollop of white, and then so that way it gives me a very pale tint, because some colors, as they get mixed with white, they start to shift, warm or cool. And so therefore it helps me understand like how mixtures go. And then and for highlights, there are times when you're painting a painting and you have to have a highlight. Sometimes you need you don't want just white, you want it to be a colorful highlight, and so this gives you an opportunity to really seek out a variety of color mixtures. So I'm going to mix the cerulean with the Cad Lemon now. So while I'm doing this, I'm doing a mixture of a pure cerulean with pure Cad Lemon. And that is this mixture right here, this top brush stroke in this square. And you'll wonder, like, why do I have these the Sharpie mark? Well, that's because I want to experiment and see, like, well, how opaque or transparent is my mixture. And then, so like, for example, Cobalt Green by Williamsburg is a very opaque green. Viridian is transparent, but so is Cobalt Green from Winsor Newton. And so by having that Sharpie line in there, I can, you know, I can see how much that mixture gets, you know, how much it, you know, how transparent it is or how opaque it is. So now I'm going to do a mixture of my tint, my cerulean tint with my Cad Lemon tint. And I've got a loaded brush, and so now I'm going to, like, that's a lovely color right there. Isn't that nice? And now it's going to be my very pale tint of Cadmium Lemon with my pale mixture of cerulean. And when I'm doing these, I'm trying to do a mix of half and half. So, and I'm always surprised how some colors will how they shift when they're very, very pale. So there's that. And now the next color is Cobalt Blue. Let's do pure Cobalt Blue with pure Cadmium Lemon. Now cerulean is a very granular color and opaque, can be opaque, where cobalt is an opaque color, but it's finer in its texture and its pigmentation. So let's do, now this is a tint of Cobalt Blue with Cad Lemon. Now for the extra light tint. Really nice. Shifts it just a little bit more yellow. And then now it's time for the mixture of ultramarine blue with Cad Lemon. Okay. That's nice. Now for the tint of ultramarine blue with the tint of Cad Lemon. And when I say tint, T-I-N-T, I'm talking, it's one color, like mixed with white. So ultramarine blue tint is white in ultramarine blue. Cad Lemon tint is Cad Lemon with ultramarine with white. So the yellow, there we go. So now it's time to move on to the next row. Wow, that's fascinating. How that really does not have much of a yellow. So now I'm going to go down this row, and you just keep working through. And let me show you what you get when you do the whole thing. So this is a complete color chart that I did, and this is my color chart for mixing my metal mixtures. So what I did was I started with raw sienna, burnt sienna, cad orange, cad red vermilion, cad red medium, cad red deep, and chevron brune from Old Holland, and then my greens and blues. So let's see, that's Viridian, that's phthalo green, that's chromium oxide, that's Cobalt Green by Williamsburg, so it's that green right there. This is Cobalt Green by Winsor Newton, Cobalt Turquoise cobalt turquoise light, cobalt turquoise deep, cerulean, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, and Prussian blue. And so when I'm mixing like metals, you know, so these are like your coppers and brasses, and then your pewters, you know, can be here and actually here, some here, and your silvers actually are also kind of in the same range as the pewter metals. So this, I created this specifically just for to get familiar with different opportunities when mixing different metal colors. And because I was painting a lot of metal vases several years back. And then what's wonderful is I have it as a stretch canvas, and then I hang this on the wall, and it becomes a reference tool for when you're painting. And when I used to have students in my studio, I would also, I encourage my students to make these as well, so that way they have their own color chart reference.